trade shows were up 42% this previous year. More and more people are going toward trade show marketing because the cost of acquisition online is up so high. When you're online and you're running an ad, you got to convince them they got a problem, tell them you have the solution to their problem, and then convince them you're the person they should get the solution from. It's a lot of work.
But at a trade show,
somebody left their comfortable home. They're motivated people. This is the 1% of 1% of 1%. Mm-hmm. Everybody that's there is there to make a deal. They would see the headline. They would walk up to the booth.
So when I'm walking by your booth or your table, I should be able to have complete clarity of what you're selling to know whether I should walk up or not.
And what's in it for me.
And it shouldn't be sign up for our raffle here.
Those things are stupid.
You want to know why they're stupid?
They would walk up. You know what the ask was? Hey. Welcome back to the Trainwreck Podcast with Perry Belcher, your host, the unstoppable force of marketing and sales, along with Emma Rainville, the wizard of ops, the immovable object that is operations, and the permanent stone in my shoe. How are you doing, dear?
Remove the stone anytime.
How are you?
I'm doing pretty good.
Good. We're matching today, kind of.
Oh,
we're
God,
both Navy.
We are kind of matchy.
We're both Navy today.
That's what you hate blue.
In the Navy.
You hate blue. Why are you wearing blue?
Dark blue.
Okay.
My girlfriend says it makes me look sexy.
Your girlfriend's retarded. She
just can't see well.
Right. For those of you who are listening, I was literally taking my eye and I'm Asian, so I can do that.
You are Asian? You're a Heinz 57. You got a little bit of everything in you.
Israel's in Asia.
Everybody like the village bicycle. All right. So how you doing?
That is absolutely not accurate. I'm doing good. I'm excited for today's topic. So oddly enough, yesterday I was on a call, and I really wanted to do this topic. Yesterday I was on a call. We got an application from a new Driven member who was listening to this show, heard about Driven, and wanted to join.
Thank you.
Yes, thank you very much. For your money.
Mm-hmm.
We got into a conversation, and he was asking me. So he has a CFO, fractional agency. Mm-hmm. They do bookkeeping, and get this, they run your traffic. They're media buyers too.
Oh, that's interesting.
That's super interesting, right? I'm so excited for you to meet him.
How smart an idea that is.
It's pretty incredible,
really
actually.
Smart.
So we're chatting, and he was talking about the different means. In order to become a Driven member, you have to call in. You get a bunch of questions. I kind of interview you, and then it goes to ownership, and they vote on whether or not they're going to let you in.
You have to do certain minimum sales.
Right. So there are certain questions that I ask, and one of the questions that I ask is, what is your means to customer acquisition?
Right.
And so he starts giving me them all. And then I started talking to him about hey, just so you know, we have an event called Growth Hacking Live. And everything that you're doing sounds brilliant. But what if I could put you at a table in a room with
1,000, 2,000 marketers,
and that's your demographic.
Right.
These are all people who want to grow their business. I don't care what business you're in. You know what you need?
This sounds like a shameless plug.
Finance and traffic, right? So I was telling him about trade show marketing, which he had never heard of before.
Sure.
And then
my favorite marketing in the world.
Right. And so I take for granted working with you because I've made for my businesses hundreds of thousands of dollars by using trade shows for customer acquisition. And we've never talked about it on Trainwreck. And so since we have Growth Hacking Live coming up, and I want some more exhibitors, I thought it would be a great opportunity to talk about trade show marketing. So what is it? Yeah. And then I'll kind of ask you the questions that I asked you 3 years ago when we initially had this conversation and what led me to invest so heavily in trade shows for my businesses.
Sure. I've probably made the most money in my whole career. Probably made more online, honestly. But in certain businesses, I've done extremely well with trade show marketing. I'll tell you why I love it so much. Conventions and exhibits, trade shows, were up 42%. So more and more people are going toward trade show marketing because the cost of acquisition online is up so high, right? So if you're selling something that's relatively expensive, if you're selling something that's, a few $1,000s a month or $10,000 a year, or if an acquisition makes you $100,000, $200,000, $300,000 a year, there's no better way to market whatever it is that you do than through trade shows, and I'll tell you why. When you're online and you're running an ad and some guy's looking at, his grandma's birthday party on Facebook, he doesn't give a shit about whatever it is you're selling, right? You've got to grab their attention, pull them in, convince them of a thing, tell them that it's a good idea for them to work with you. You got to convince them they got a problem, tell them you have the solution to their problem, and then convince them you're the person they should get the solution from. It's a lot of work.
But at a trade show.
At a trade show, somebody left their comfortable home.
Right.
Because we go to them. They're no fun, by the way. You left your comfortable home.
They're no fun for you.
You got on an airplane. You flew to another city where you bought an overpriced hotel room, had overpriced drinks, ate overpriced food, rode around in stinky cabs to go into big, giant, germ-filled rooms of people. I'm just being frank, big germ-filled rooms of people where with the sole purpose of figuring out new ways to grow your business, right? So if you're selling to people that, and these are the people that are going to go, they're motivated people. This is the 1% of 1% of 1%. I can tell you, like with Digital Marketer, I was a co-founder of Digital Marketer, and we had an event called Traffic and Conversion Summit. We had, at any given time, 400,000 to 500,000 active leads in our system. We probably had 100,000 active buyers in our system at a given time. And every year at our event, we would maybe get 5,000 people to come to the event.
Right.
So those are the people that spent $30, $40, $50, $100,000 a year with us. The best quality people there, number one. That's like the number one thing about trade show marketing. You're it's like hunting in a baited field. Mm-hmm. Everybody that's there is there to make a deal, to forward themselves, to meet somebody in JV. Everybody that's done trade shows knows this. The money's all made at the bar. The money's made at the parties. The money's made at the get-togethers and the dinners and things like that. But,
I think that that's true to an extent, because my money was always made at the booth.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say. From the exhibitor standpoint, most exhibitors, I'll just be 100% frank with you, most exhibitors don't make money. And it's their own damn fault. They go and they put up some sign behind their booth that says some weird name that nobody's ever heard of, and some statement that's like synergizing your dynamics or some bullshit like that. And people walk by, they don't have any idea what the company did, and they don't make any money. And then you've got a handful of people who actually understand trade show marketing that go to these events, and they make all the money. It was not unusual for me when I did ASD show, which is a merchandise show. It was not unusual for me to leave with $1 million worth of orders in 3 days, right? It was not unusual for us at TNC for our house booths to do $500,000 in 3 days. I mean, you can't beat belly-to-belly sales. You just can't beat it. You get to look somebody in the eye, and the lead generation is amazing. It always amazes me, and I think largely it's because owners refer this out to employees. And they say, okay, we've rented a booth at so-and-so. Now, Jimmy and Joe, you go do it, right? Jimmy and Joe, it's just another day's work.
Well, for Jimmy and Joe, it's completely different. So let's talk about that for a second. I was an employee for a long time going to trade shows, and then I was a business owner now for 6 years going to trade shows.
Right.
For the employee, the reason why the money's made at the parties, because the employees are going to the parties. They're getting the free drinks. They're partying all night. They're showing up late. They're not walking the floor. That's why the majority of it's made at the bar. When you have the owner involved, you have the owner at the booth, or a higher level executive that really cares about how you back out of the trade show.
Right.
I think you're right. The dynamic is very different. I think there's a place for both.
Oh, you got to have both, because you're going to, you can't, as the owner, you're not going to be able to service a crowd of
staff goes out to the parties and drives people to the booth to me to talk to me directly.
It comes down a lot to, and I'll talk about the three big factors of what makes a trade show booth really work in just a second. But before we even talk about that, let's talk about the end, right? I did an event in I went as a buyer, and you know how much I like buying equipment. I'm an equipment buying idiot.
Yep.
I'll buy machines, $100,000 machine, because I think it's cool, But I went to this big print expo show in Chicago a couple of years ago, and as an experiment, I went in with 100 business cards. I said, I'm going to give away 100 business cards in this show for Graphic Smarts, our graphics company. And I went to the show, and these are people selling $50,000, $100,000, $200,000, $300,000 piece of equipment. I'd go look at a piece of equipment. And I'd say, okay, cool. This is this is neat. This, well, how do we, can we get information from you? I said, yeah, here's my card. And I would give them a card. I gave away 100 cards. There were at least 700 booths in this thing. I gave away exactly 100 cards. 1 week later, 2 people
emailed you,
had followed up with me. One with a phone call, one with an email.
Okay.
Within about another 30 days, maybe 5 or 6 reached out some way. And then it was really weird. Still, I would get, and I still get these from trade shows, like 8 months later, somebody will call.
Pulls them all.
Hey,
yeah.
I'm calling from so-and-so and so-and-so, right? It's crazy. The amount of money people spend to go to trade shows, and the way that they screw off the leads, these are you can't have a better lead. You'll never, ever, 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 ever have a better lead. If you think about it, you go to a trade show and there's 2,000 people there, and let's say that 100 of them walk up to your booth and you have a sales conversation with them, right? If 100 people gave you an appointment to meet with them, right, you'd have to fly 100 places.
Right.
Or drive 100 places. I mean,
or get on 100 Zooms.
There's no possibly a more efficient method of talking to your target audience than in a trade show. But there are a couple of rules. If you're going to really make it work, you need to follow these hard and fast rules, right? Number 1, clarity. It needs to be crystal clear. So the brain only has 7 seconds to make a decision if it's going to be attracted to something or not. That's online, that's in person, doesn't matter. It's a
So when I'm walking by your booth or your table, I should be able to
7 seconds.
catch my eye, and I should be able to have complete clarity of what you're selling to know whether I should walk up or not.
And what's in it for me?
Right.
Right? What do you got?
And it shouldn't be sign up for our raffle here.
Oh, it does. Those things are stupid.
You want to know why they're stupid? I've done them for years, by the way, because I'm an idiot. You taught me not to do them. They're stupid because the only people that go to get the free iPad is the non-decision-making employee that's
100%.
just there to
that
collect
goes around
leads.
and signs up for every
single
lotto,
thing.
right?
Yeah, right.
Yeah,
It's
the owners
only
don't give a
person.
shit.
The
They don't
person
give
who are
two
going to
shits,
buy
yeah.
from you don't give a shit about that.
So just having the trade show wall that's behind you, or the banner that's behind you, or the sign that's on your table, or the tablecloth, whatever. Don't be clever. Don't be clever. And secondly, don't make the whole damn thing a giant logo, because nobody knows what
your logo means.
Nobody knows what it means, and nobody gives a shit. So your logo should be small, top left corner of your backdrop, just like a website. And just like a website, the smartest thing you could possibly do is just have a big headline there. Finally, desired end result, in timeline, without objection, or guarantee. I mean, just put a headline there. It's the dumb, simplest thing to do, but then people get to walk by. They got 7 seconds. They can read a headline in about 3.
Yep.
And they can determine if that's something that could be of benefit to them or not. It's not going to be a benefit to everybody, right? But if it's of benefit to them, then they're going to draw in, right? Other than your guy standing out in the middle of the aisle like they're going to trip somebody, let people draw in. That's number 1. Number 2, you do need a device to attract attention. And I'll give you my best one I ever have done in my life. It was the very, very best trade show I've ever done. So we did a thing. We used to have a local marketing agency called Juicebox. And we really did a job on that one. So we had a giant wall, a 20-foot wall, and the whole wall was a headline that says, get 100 new customers by this time tomorrow. Ask me how. Guess what? We had them wear red T-shirts, and on the back of the T-shirt, it had the same message that was on the backdrop, right? So if they were walking around the show to go get a Coke, to go to the bathroom, whatever, it said, follow me to get 100 new customers by this time tomorrow on the back of their shirt.
Perfect.
And on the front of it, it had a little Juicebox logo. But they were crimson red. They stood out, right? But the really smart thing that we did, we had iPads. We had 6 iPads set up in front of the booth. And there was a video sales letter that was a cartoon. It was a funny cartoon video sales letter. You've seen it, I think. It's called Kick the Pig.
Yep.
And we had headphones. And here was the pitch. So they would see the headline. They would walk up to the booth. And your trade show models, by the way, should be nice looking but not overly attractive. You don't want the 6-foot-tall supermodel. You want the girl next door or the guy next door, right? Young, energetic, nice. Think Apple Store, right? That's what you want, but maybe a little more attractive. Sometimes they're pretty.
Okay.
So, anywho, they would walk up, and you know what the ask was? Hey, want to see a funny video? That was it. Sure. Now, think about this dynamic. This is probably one of the smartest things I ever did. Almost everybody that walked up would put on the headphones, and the person would reach down and hit play on the iPad, right? It was on a little easel. And the video was about 6 minutes long, right? But think about it. I got headphones on them, so all that background noise is now gone.
I've got their total attention.
They're looking down at a screen. So now they're not distracted by everything else that's going on. And I had a call to action at the end. So, hey, give us $20 and we'll get you 100 new leads by tomorrow, right? And this was back when we could get, when you signed up for a Google ad account, you got $500 credit. So we knew we could get them leads. So we would use their Google sign up. We would get them $500 credit from Google, run paid ads for them, and get them 100 leads. And sometimes we didn't get them quite 100. Sometimes we got them over 100. But we charged them $20. So we had a transaction. So they gave us a credit card. So guess what I had then? I had credit card data. So when we wanted to go back and offer them the upsell later.
It was already stored in the
So you want to
CRM.
use the same credit card you used at the show? Yeah. Boom, done. What we did find out that was really interesting in that, the third day of that show, we actually started offering people an upsell right there on the spot, and it worked out great. The first 2 days, we thought we were going to have to get them the result before we could upsell them. It was absolutely untrue. But we sold, I think it was 391 people. It was a small show. It was a locksmith show. I think we had 391 people watch the video, and 85 people gave us $20. 85 paying customers out of a 3-day trade show. That was a little trade show. It was pretty inexpensive. And I really suggest, by the way, if you're doing trade shows, bigger is not better. What you want to be looking at in a trade show is a ratio. A ratio. How many exhibitors do you have per how many attendees do you have? If you've got a show like the SEMA show, where you've got, I did terribly at the SEMA show. I thought it was going to be great because we did the same setup we did the locksmith show. At the locksmith show, we had 1,700 locksmiths, but we only had 18 vendors. So we had one vendor per 100 attendees, right? The SEMA show, they had 60,000 people, right? But they had 2,700 booths. So it was like 10 people or 20 people per exhibitor. So make sure you go to where there's a low number of exhibitors to numbers of attendees. This is almost always true in local and state level shows. One time I did a show for a totally different thing for the Arkansas Association of Realtors. And there were only 3 booths. They only sold 3 booths. And we had like 800 people and we killed it. We just destroyed it because everybody had time to come by the booth 3 times, right? When you're doing affiliate summit, when they're running to get from A to B and they're in a hurry, they're just trying to see all the booths, right? So look for that ratio. And 3, have an offer. Have an offer at the booth. Most people don't have an offer. It can be a low ticket offer. It can be a high ticket offer. It can be a free offer. It can be anything. The best trade show I ever did was actually the most money I ever made in a trade show was at Traffic and Conversion Summit. We launched a business called Platter, and it was a social media management agency. And we charged $1,000 for a social media audit, and we sold $111,000 audits. But I spoke on stage. So here's your tip number 87. If you can negotiate 10 minutes, even 5 minutes of stage time to where you at least get up and talk about something that you do as a speaker, and then you can lead people over to your booth for a free giveaway, like a signed book or something like that. Nothing will ever beat that. If you can get on stage at an event in front of the audience, talk about what you do, and then tell them that you have a booth and you've got a free widget for them, to come over and pick up a signed book or whatever. Books are great. People like signed books. They never read them, but they like them. So they'll go back to the booth, and you can almost walk the whole room out of the room to your booth doing that. But if you follow those 3 rules where you're getting clarity of what you do, you've got something that grabs their attention and holds it for just a few minutes, and you've got an offer to make them, and you pick the shows well based on ratio, right? They have to be obviously related to your business. I don't know how you don't make money, but you do need to follow up. The money in a trade show is made in the follow-up.
Yeah.
And most people don't follow up.
Most people never follow up.
We interrupt this pod to bring you this really special announcement. You need to go right now. Well, maybe they want to go right now. Want to stop?
No,
them?
at the end. We don't want to have them stop.
Go to trainwreckshow.com. There's lots of bots there, GPT bots that do things for you, that do a lot of your work. So you don't have to work so much and drink more beer. The episode archives are over there. There's all of our resources, worksheets, workbooks. Everything that we've done that we give away is over there. Go get it right now. There's a lot of resources there. Way more resources than you get when you buy a lot of communities, I think.
And don't forget to like and subscribe so that you can catch every episode as soon as it hits. We'll send you a notification.
It doesn't mean you're liking Emma, by the way, because I know that slows us down on our likes. You can just click and say, I like Perry. You don't have to like Emma. It works the same way.
Somebody told me, an old buddy of mine says, yeah, here's what happens. Because it was somebody that had done a lot of shows. Says, here's what happens. You know, you get all the business cards and they all are in a shoebox, right? And then Jimmy brings the box back with all the leads and he's going to follow up on them on Monday. He leaves the show on Wednesday and he takes Friday off, and Monday he's going to follow up. And Monday morning he pulls out the box and he pulls out 3 business cards and he calls 3 people. And then somebody comes in and says, hey man, you want to go to lunch? And he says, yeah. And he shoves the shoebox under the desk. And they go to lunch, and then after lunch, there's another meeting, and then 6 months later, they find the shoebox.
So, yes, follow-up is huge. What we generally do is I usually have someone like an EA or a VA somewhere that I don't have a shoebox. I don't bring cards home. I take a picture of the front and back of the card, which may or may not have notes written on it.
The better thing to do is those business card scanners that scan the card.
But it's just so fast for me to do it. So a lot of times I'll make notes in the back, but I send it off to someone and then they put it in a spreadsheet. And as soon as I walk away from them, that happens. And within 15 minutes, they get an email. This is, hey, I'll be reaching out next week. I just wanted you to have my contact information. This comes from my email. Somebody does that immediately. But I want to go backwards a little bit.
By the way, let me add something to that because it's really good. I was at a show not long ago and it was brilliant. I've never done it, but somebody did it to me. They said, hey, let's get a selfie before you go. And they took a selfie.
And then you send it.
And minutes later, I got a message from them with our picture in it. Right. So I totally remembered.
David Gonzalez taught me that about 4 years ago.
Yeah, it totally works.
A couple of things about trade shows. So number one, I like to look for them that don't have nonstop speaking. So we have 2 different types of events. We have AI Bot Summit, which people do sponsor, but those are incredibly low ticket. And it's because everybody's in the room the whole time.
Right.
So, and then we have Growth Hacking Live. Growth Hacking Live is intentional. Like we've got a 45-minute speaker, and then we have 45 minutes and nobody's on that keynote stage.
You got multi-rooms.
We have multiple rooms. We have multiple rooms, so they have to walk from one end to the other. So they have to walk through the exhibitor booth every single time they want to change rooms. And the rooms all have downtime at certain points of the day so that nobody has anywhere else to go.
You want to ask them, too, if they're going to have the cocktail parties and stuff, if they're going to have them in the exhibitor area. Because that's a good time for vendors to talk to exhibitors. It's like during cocktail parties and mixers and things like that.
So, and then the next question that I like to ask, I have done pretty decent at Affiliate Summit East and West. I've exhibited at one or the other every year, and I'll probably continue. But I tend to like Growth Hacking Live, we only allow one from a category. So that means that I am the only fractional COO.
Right.
Or I'm the only customer service provider. Or I'm the only affiliate platform. So depending on what your services are, yes, there may be 25 exhibitors to 1,000 people, but I will be the only person with my service that's there. So that's a big one for me. And then on the higher tickets, I want to negotiate for either stage time, or if that's not available or possible, particularly with those that have the big windows, it's harder to get, then I want the attendee email list.
I've never been able to get that.
I get it all the time.
Yeah, that's interesting.
I get it all the time. Here's how I do it. The way we do it is you give me something that I'm going to send to the list that they have to sign up for, and then you get their information. That's how I negotiate it out.
I've seen a lot of people do well with lounges too. Like they'll rent a small room.
And that's what I was about to get into. Make sure that you get like, so for example, and I'll keep using growth hacking because A, shameless plug, and B, it's how we set it up, how a lot of people set up.
Do well.
Right.
If the promoter doesn't give a shit and they don't set the conference up to make money for the vendors.
Well, I set it up to what I know. So there's certain things that I know. And I know that if A, I have an exhibitor booth, B, I'm on stage speaking, or I have my company's logo or sizzle reel or something going.
Or sponsor a dinner or a table or something.
The thing that I want is the VIP ticket, which for us, we did it so that our exhibitors all have VIP tickets. Here's why. For our VIP, it works very much like a lot of the conferences I went to. You have a meeting spot that you can go privately away from the exhibitor booths, away from everything. If I'm going to close a $25K a month client, which I've 100% done at a conference.
Yeah.
I can go sit, I can take them into the VIP area with me. They don't have to be VIPs, right? And that's how we have growth hacking set up. I can sit down, I can have a conversation with them, and I can sign them up right there. There's no reason to let them go home. So, but a couple of quick ones. Always have someone at the booth. Always have someone at the booth. Always have someone at the booth. A lot of times people will be
so basic.
A lot of times people will be speaking, and they'll leave a note at the booth. Speaking in breakout room 4. Come see me there. Always have someone at the booth, and then have your follow-up sequence planned out
before you go to the show.
Before you go to the damn show, because when you come back, you're going to be behind on your regular work, and it's just too much to figure out. You want how you're going to get. I only need one client, really. My ticket's high, though. I only need one client. So how do I get that one client? What do I got to do? What do I got to give them? The way that I do it is I have my leads, and then I create warm leads out of those leads. Then I create hot leads out of warm leads, and those hot leads get a box from me.
Yeah.
They get a box. Now it has my book in it. Years before I didn't have the
like
book.
A shock
it was
and
other
awe
things.
Box, they call it.
Yep. So I have my book in it. I generally have a pair of fluffy socks that say Shockwave on it. And then I've got something that has something to do with the conference we were just at. So I work at a lot of different conferences. My business works at a lot of different conferences. But if we're at a marketing conference, I may have a flash drive on there that has a marketing calendar, how your marketing calendar should be set up for operational excellence. I'll have something in there that they can use in their business. So yeah, those are just my 2 cents.
And I think one of the things to add to that is speed to lead.
Yeah.
If you're the first person that reaches back out to them, because some people are like, well, I'm going to give them a few days to get home and get settled. No, you don't want to do that.
That's why my team.
You want them to get a message on their phone while they're walking away from your booth.
I send that text message. It
goes
goes in a Slack message, and within minutes of walking away from me, they get a, hey, it was so nice meeting you.
Right.
And they think I'm sending it to them.
Right.
They think that I enjoyed our conversation so much that I took time.
But when you do that, if you do the things that we just told you, and those sound pretty simple, because guess what? They're pretty simple. I don't think it's possible to lose money. If you go to a good show, it's practically impossible to lose money. As long as that ratio is right. You got to watch out for newer shows that don't have a track record, because they say they're going to have 1 million people, and then you get there and there's 4. But if you're working with somebody who's done a lot of trade shows, we've done a lot of trade shows. I've been running trade shows for many, many years with AI Bot Summit, with Traffic Conversion Summit. Emma's ran tons of events. So we know how to fill an event. Just be careful of the shows that are a little shaky on that. It's really a lot of fun, man. It's fun to go do the shows. You meet people, and you may make a deal. You may make a connection there that has nothing to do with even selling a client.
Yeah.
You may make one of the things that people really ignore that's really stupid in trade shows is not making good friends with the other exhibitors. Because those other exhibitors at a trade show, guess what? They have the same customers you have. Right? So if you can refer them customers, they can refer you customers if they're not competitive. They're complementary, right? You can build I call it my little black book of referrals. Yep. It's great. You may make a JV deal there that outshadows everything you do in sales. Yep. You make one JV deal. So it's
I'd like to talk about swag just really quickly.
Yeah.
We got to wrap up because we're over time, of course. But the last thing I want to say is I see people spend a ton of money on swag for the tables. The only person you're going to attract to get to your table for swag is non-decision making affiliate managers who are trying to meet people that are trying to get you to send their offers. They have no decision making power. They can't buy your services. Swag at a table is such a waste of money. Here's where swag is a great idea. A lot of times the event coordinators will allow you to purchase swag that everybody gets as they check in. So it might be bags that you could buy that say growth hacking live. I'm just throwing that out there. But growth hacking live, I'm an operator, but I'm really a marketer at heart.
She can't help herself, folks.
But let's say growth hacking, like, hey, you'd call me and you'd say, hey, I want to provide growth hacking live. So growth hacking live will be on one side of the bag and the other side will be Shockwave Solutions. The other thing that I've done when that's not available is a notebook that'll have my company name on it and then a QR code, which will be a video of me talking about why every company needs operations and a freebie.
I just gave this suggestion yesterday to one of our members that's going to be an exhibitor. I think the one piece of swag that's awesome are bags. Because if you've got a big obnoxious colored bag, if you got a big yellow bag with a big purple logo on the side of it and you're giving those out, and pretty soon half the people in the show have all their shit in there.
You got to be careful. You got to be careful because if the event gives a bag, those bags don't get picked up and they get thrown in the trash. I've seen that over and over again. Make sure the event doesn't have a bag, and if the event has a bag, ask to sponsor it.
I love the bags because they're like walking billboards.
Well, a lot of people get those cheap string bags, and then they're competing with the nice tote bag that the event gave out.
Right.
And people are going to throw it away. So you got to be really mindful.
Yes, you can be a bag sponsor,
A bag sponsor, and don't just put don't pay $5,000 to put a leaflet in there. Pay $1,000 and put an actual piece of swag in there.
Yeah.
Because those, I promise you, like Perry had brought home for Belle one time, I think it was an ape. I think it was a little stuffed animal ape. And that little stuffed animal ape on the tag, if you remember, had a QR code to the company's website.
Yeah. I didn't know that. I didn't know that.
Yeah. Go pull the ape.
Neat.
Yeah. So, all right, we should probably close with that because
do that.
Trade show marketing. We've just absolutely plugged our own trade show. It's going to be awesome. Come to it, but
you certainly don't have to do it there.
You can make money at trade shows. You should certainly be looking into trade shows that fit your niche, your demographic. Put your demographic together and
there's
then
a great
find trade
website
shows
called 10times.com, 10times, 10times.com, and they list pretty much every trade show in the world on there. So go check them out. I'd say start off local, state, regional.
I think it depends on what you're doing.
Yeah, it depends
on what you're doing. If you're an online...
But just don't think, well, I'm going to go... I've never done a trade show before, so I'm going to go do a trade show with 100,000 people.
Do not do that. Go to it.
It's going to cost you a lot of money. You're going to take a lot of risk. It's going to be very, very expensive.
The smaller the trade show, the more likely it is to back out. I've
100%.
seen that. I've mentioned Affiliate Summit East and West is 6,000 to 10,000 people. I do way better at the 1,000 to 2,500 people events because...
The ratio's lower.
The ratio's lower, 100%.
Yeah, it really is ratio.
So that's trade show marketing.
There you go. So there's another train wreck, which wasn't too train wrecky. We're getting to where we're too nice to each other. I think we're going to have to work on that. But
Perry has a small penis.
Thank you so much. They know that's not true.
They know it's true. It's the way you shuffle around.
Thank you so much for being here.
Paw.
I'll see.
You started it. I tried to end the show. Bye, guys.
Bye.